Hi, welcome back to Seeing the Need, Finding the Solution with Stories of Healing and Hope in 2011 Home Makeover Giveaway, and equally as important, as well as giving away free health care services for individuals that have been denied services here in Maricopa County. We have some very special guests today, somebody who is not new to the show, which is Tomas Leon, CEO of People Call Network. Welcome to Get Back, Tomas.
Thank you so much.
Tomas, I'm going to ask you a couple questions before I let you introduce your guests. People Color Network, you've been on many times. Talked about many different aspects. So I'm going to leave the floor to you a little bit and tell us what you really want to talk about today and what you want to focus on.
Well, Phil, as I mentioned before on previous shows, that People of Color Network is focused on creating and maintaining healthy people of color communities in Maricopa County. We're made up of nonprofit provider organizations that make up our network and provide valuable services in terms of behavioral health, mental health services, and soon to be providing primary care services in an integrated healthcare environment. And you know, this holiday season, we want to raise awareness about something that's important for our community and our families in Arizona, and that's suicide that takes place and that happens, that impacts families in our community and our state. And people may not be aware that you know, 800 suicides, an estimated 800 suicides take place in Arizona, and about 2,600 related suicide attempts are documented in Arizona. And what's important is that this holiday season, and even though it's a time of Thanksgiving and celebration, it's also a very challenging time for people who are experiencing depression and having a very difficult time and feeling isolated. And so we want to make sure that we raise awareness about suicide prevention and that we get our community focused on what can be done to prevent suicide and support people in our own backyard and in Arizona.
Okay. And you talked about the impact that has on people. And speaking of impact, why don't we go ahead and introduce your guests? And I know we talked about waiting to do some PSAs and doing some stuff that we're going to be doing in the future with Impact, but we went ahead and knocked one out anyway. So I'm going to let you introduce your guests real quick, and then we're going to go to B-roll of the public service announcement and come back to our guests as well. So go ahead and introduce us, who you bring.
Well, La Frontera Impact is one of our valued members of our network and provide a tremendous service in our community in Maricopa County throughout Arizona. And we have this campaign is about stories of healing and hope. And we have Marge, who is here to share her personal story, and Pilar here to talk about the services that La Frontera Impact offers to our community. So we're delighted to have them both here and a valued member of our community to provide critical services to families who are experiencing mental health, behavioral health challenges.
As we get ready to introduce our next two guests, take a look at this public service announcement and get an idea of what we're talking about. Welcome back to Seeing the Need and Finding the Solution. Dr. Pilar, where would you like to start?
Just talking a little bit about ourselves. We are a community behavioral health center here in Maricopa County. And we have a vast array of services that help children and adults. We have outpatient counseling for adults, families, groups, therapy, and children's services. And we hope with that to gain people the skill sets to be successful in life when they're experiencing challenges in everyday life. We also have several unique programs in our agency that we provide for individuals in the county, including a crisis hotline, our 1-800-273-TALK number, that individuals are able to call at any time and speak to a trained clinician about any symptoms they're experiencing, if they're feeling down, depressed, having thoughts about hurting themselves, or they're victims of a crime and need to talk to somebody. We have individuals available. We also have our Reach Out, Check In, Save a Life campaign. And that campaign is really geared towards suicide prevention. We want individuals to make an effort to really reach out to others in their lives, in their community, and lend a helping hand. A lot of times, like the PSA show, suicide is preventable, and a lot of times people just need somebody to reach out and say, I'm here for you and how can I help you? And so we wanted to bring that awareness to individuals about things that they could do to help others in need.
Awesome. One of the services you also provide is trauma healing services as well, too.
Correct.
If you could kind of give me a little overlay on that before we introduce your guest that you bring along with you.
Our trauma department works with individuals who have been victims of domestic violence or of assault, sexual or physical assault. And we help individuals to really be successful after experiencing such difficult trauma in their lives. And we will help all ages as well in that program. And so with us, we have Margie, who has been a recipient in our trauma department with services.
And as you can see, as we're getting ready to talk to Margie, the number is up on the screen for anybody that needs to use this phone number. Margie, welcome. How are you?
Thank you. Fine, thank you.
The way I like to talk about things, we talked a little bit before the show and a little bit outside as we kind of rolled up together. What it was like for you before you got to Impact?
Well, you're mentioning child services was very poignant for me. I was suffering, and I know from a very early age. I was only 11 years old when I first attempted to take my life. So I had been traumatized by a background of both physical and emotional abuse. And then on top of that, I had been raped at the age of 15 and subsequently became pregnant as a result of that. So there was a lot of suffering. And I feel I wasted a tremendous amount of energy seeking relief from that suffering rather than using it to build a life for myself.
And that energy that you're talking about wasting is in probably a number of different ways to try to depress that or kill that pain and that anxiety.
Yeah.
What are some of the ways that people who have went through your experiences do that, so maybe the viewer out there can relate to? What are some of the ways that you suppress that for those periods of time?
Well, with use of various substances, drugs, alcohol, or certain behaviors or activities. I think that my mentioning the energy that it takes to repress all those memories and so on could certainly better be used to decide what you want to do with your life, who you want to be, what you want to do for a living, where you're going to go, who you're going to partner up with, and to have those choices ruled primarily by what you're trying to avoid, which is re-experiencing the trauma. It doesn't offer you a lot of choices. It doesn't offer you a lot of direction. In other words, if you're just looking for anything but that, in other words, not that, that leaves you so much room to flounder, to have other bad experiences.
Sure.
Do you understand?
More than you know. You know, when you got to Impact, one thing that I can relate to, and one thing I want the viewers to realize is it's a flat miracle that somebody like this is just sitting here today. That's just a miracle that's sitting on your TV screen. When you get into an organization like La Frontera Impact Suicide Prevention, and some people that care about your well-being and care about the counseling, care about the transportation, care about you as a whole person, and helping you work through all those memories that you were talking about. What's that experience in the transition into turning your life into becoming or living well? How has that been for you with Impact as well, too?
Well, the importance of that caring element is huge, has played a huge part in my life in establishing trust. I have used both the group environment and an individual therapist in my quest for resolution to my problems. And this is actually, I've had quite a bit of experience in other modalities, other types of therapy. And this is the first one that I felt allowed me to achieve resolution rather than just learning to deal with it.
Resolution, what a word of hope. If you could give anybody hope that's out there listening, saying, hey, I went through that. That happened to me. I feel the same way. I do the same things, but they're not where you're at right now. If you could send one message of hope to them, what would it be?
That there's a new life waiting for them, that resolution is possible. It's not necessary nor natural to suffer your whole life due to your experiences. And I believe that La Frontera Impact has hit upon a combination of approaches that are very successful at doing that. And I have been there in a lot of those experiences. I have gone through suicide attempts. I've gone through rape, abuse, and I do feel like a walking miracle because I've been not only able to achieve peace, but also joy. Joy in my life.
The message he talks about is peace and joy and stories of hope and healing. Talks about pain and talks about experiences as well. When we talk about funding cuts in the state of Arizona, being able to service people that have experience, not issues, but experiences that are real to them. And when they do not get services or they're denied services or they cannot obtain those services, then that takes away the element of somebody being able to sit here and be a miracle just like this person here as well today too. We have about a minute left. I'm just going to go through real quick. And if there's one thing you could say this holiday season to the viewers, what would it be?
That there is help out there, and we are here for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Anybody needs to call us at 1-800-273-TALK, and not to give up.
Okay. Tomas, one thing if you could say it.
This is very inspiring. I mean, it's close to my heart and my family. I had a cousin that committed suicide a few years back, and it's just important that people understand that you don't have to suffer in silence, that take that step and get the help. We have an entire community here and providers out here to provide those valuable services and inspiring people that have overcome these personal challenges and living a life of peace and healing and hope. And we just want to make sure that people out there during this holiday understand that we have an entire community here that cares about you.
Margie, thank you so much for your transparency, your honesty. Thank you so much for your story. And for those of you out there, make the phone call if you need to. Go to POCN.com for more information on mental health services. Go to La Frontera Impact Suicide as well. The information is up on the screen on the website. This holiday season, these folks are seeing a need, finding a solution. Thank you very much.